Alright, welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at our first lesson dealing with circles, and this is basically a video on dealing with the perimeter or circumference of the circle. But in order to fully understand that concept, we need to know a few different pieces of terminology first. So the first thing we need to do is discuss different parts of a circle. Now this first one here shows a line going from the edge of the circle towards the center, and what this is called is the radius. Okay, another concept we need to know is 2 times the radius, or from the edge to the center twice, is going to be the diameter. And finally, all the way around the outside, the entire perimeter of a circle is called its circumference. Now, another important concept we need to deal with just quickly before we move on is the idea of pi. Pi is a mathematical constant, and it is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a circle. Now, when we're dealing with this, because it has so many digits, we usually abbreviate it or ultimately only use a certain level of accuracy. Now, we're going to be using a calculator which will deal with pi for us. Alright, so the next skill I want to talk about is just determining the radius from the diameter. It will be useful sometimes to know the radius and sometimes to know the diameter. But the first thing you have to remember is the diameter is always twice the size of the radius. So in order to find our diameter, all we need to do is divide our diameter by 2 will give us our radius. So our diameter here is 18 meters. So in order to find our radius, it's just going to be equal to 18 divided by 2. Now 18 divided by 2 is just 9. So our radius is equal to 9 meters. For part B, we have a diameter of 26 millimeters, so our radius is going to be equal to 26 divided by 2. And that just equals 13 millimeters. For C, we have a diameter of 42 centimeters, so our radius is going to be equal to 42 divided by 2, which is equal to 21 centimeters. Alright, just like we can solve for the diameter using, or solve for the radius using diameter, we can solve for the diameter using the radius. So for our first one here, we have a radius that equals 6 meters. So in order to determine the diameter, all we need to do is multiply it by 2. So our diameter will equal 6 times 2, which is equal to 12 meters. We can do the exact same thing for B. So our diameter is going to be equal to 2.5 multiplied by 2, and that's just going to be equal to 5 millimeters. For C, we have a diameter that's going to be equal to 7 times 2, which is equal to 14 centimeters. Alright, here's a few for you guys to practice, so just give the video a pause, give them a go, and then I'll solve them. Alright, let's get started. So, for part 1, we're looking at a radius. For part B, we're looking at the circumference. For part C, we are looking at the diameter. In part 2a, we have a diameter of 8 meters, so our radius must be half of that, which is 4 meters. We have 16 millimeters for our second diameter, so our radius must be 8 millimeters. For our third one, we have a diameter of 12 centimeters, so our radius must be 6 centimeters. Alright, now to go from the radius to the diameter, all we need to do is multiply by 2. So we've got the first one with 4 meters, so the diameter will be 8 meters. The second one is 5.2 millimeters, so the diameter will equal 10.4 millimeters. And finally for C, our last diameter is, radius is going to be 12 centimeters, so our diameter will be 24 centimeters. Alright, that's it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful, and I will see you in the next one.